to spray certain viral matter into our environment, which would be absorbed by people to manipulate certain parts of proper functioning of the brain. There are also record numbers of respiratory and health-related issues out there. I'm sure somebody in this room knows somebody that's having some type of sinusitis, bronchitis. It is a reaction to it's an allergic reaction to what's being done to us. They are spraying, there is no doubt about it. Project HARP, High Altitude Auroral Research Project. The same scientist, Dr. Bernard Eastling, who has certain patent involvement with HARP, also has patent involvement with the elements that are being sprayed in the chemtrails. Also, my question is for people to ponder is who has the kind of power to allow jet fuel to be infused with aluminum, barium, and other toxic elements and authorized to refuel airplanes with this toxic substance and spray them systematically all over the world.
Their environmental impact statement on public oversight. Geoengineering also raises particularly difficult national security issues because it can help some regions while harming others. All studies show that once begun, it cannot be stopped without creating harmful sudden increases in global temperature. Who decides when and where to geoengineer? Why is there no public consent to our government dropping aluminum, barium, silver iodide, or other aerosols into the air we breathe? As a teacher for 16 years, I have watched disabilities rise among my students exponentially. 10 years ago, autism was 1 out of every 10,000 children. Now it affects 1 in 70 boys. Allergies are no longer seasonal. They last all year and they develop at any age. Nearly everyone you know has a child with a disability. Asthma is an epidemic. Respiratory illness is the third leading cause of death. It has moved up from 7 in the last 6 years. Something is causing this.
Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, a growing but neglected global epidemic. We're all frogs in boiling water right now, period. Whether we realize it or not, whether we feel healthy or not tonight, we're all breathing this stuff in. It's clogging us up slowly but surely. It's absolutely happening. We're not. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, a growing but neglected global epidemic. We're all frogs in boiling water right now, period. Whether we realize it or not, whether we feel healthy or not tonight, we're all breathing this stuff in. It's clogging us up slowly but surely. It's absolutely happening. We're not speculating. We have about 5 dozen lab tests from Shasta County alone. We know this material's in the air, and we know we're breathing it. There's no speculation on this. This is a bioaccumulative metal. It's just what we know about is lethally harmful. So this is a problem we all are experiencing to some degree. 1 in 3 older adults now dies with dementia and or Alzheimer's. Doesn't mean they die with it or from it, but they die with it. And all of us, again, are somewhere along that path. Cognitively, we all have this stuff in us. It's affecting us all to some degree. This is an older chart. I've used this chart before, but it's important because it shows the escalation for autism. We've gone from 1 in 5,000 to 1 in 50. That's a 10,000% increase. That should alarm people. So why are people watching American Idol and football and drinking beers and having tailgate parties? We're immersed in an absolute crisis right here, right now. So my attempt is to convey that message. The global depopulation policy killing us softly. How do you cool a population without panicking them? You know, I've stayed away from this subject in very much depth because I'd hoped people would come around and just to the simple notion they're being sprayed like rats day in and day out. But it seemed not enough have. As long as McDonald's is flipping burgers and Walmart's open, people seem to think everything's okay, but it's not. It's not. And this will come to a very abrupt end very soon. On the course we're on.
Let me explain. There's about 9 general components. They do vary from time to time.
Looks like three different sprays.
But here are the basics. Aluminum oxide, which is one of the most deadly heavy metals, and acts again as a reflector for scalar wave technology that affects us. Barium oxide, pretty much the same thing, but it's not as poisonous, but it's using to affect our consciousness. We have bio-nano particles, which act again as scalar wave transmitters. Once the particles in us, they act as receptors for the scalar waves to affect our consciousness. and synthetic polymers, which do the same thing. So they've got a group of things. Okay. Now, next thing they use ethylene dibromide. Ethylene dibromide is ranked as the 12th most deadly toxin. It displaces iodine from the system, therefore diminishes health and intelligence. But it is a poison on its own. There's also in a lot of fire retardants. Then we have viruses, what I call the biological warfare. Viruses, bacteria, fungus, and Morgellons. I'm curious, how many people have heard about Morgellons? 1. Okay. 2. Okay. Not a whole lot of people. Morgellons is something that it appears that we don't have a cure for. It attacks your skin, hair, and nails. It literally melts your skin away and it ultimately kills you. There's 4 kinds of Morgellons. We don't even know what it's from, and it's hard to classify whether it's a bacteria, virus, or fungus, and nobody quite understands it. You know, there are lots of theories about it. So Morgellons is being dumped on us as well. Okay, they also have heavy metals, besides barium and aluminum that they put in from time to time. They also have a radioactive thorium, which is another piece. So I think we added up, it's about 9 different factors.
There were unusual high spikes in chemicals and heavy metals. Barium, aluminum, manganese, magnesium, zinc. And I suspect that we're getting the pollution from something in the atmosphere that's being released.